he always managed to leave everything outside the door. Like when he would come in, he would never
Bring the problems
never
home.
Never. Welcome to Mama's Playground, where we talk about parenting and all things life. This is Darlene.
And this is Monica.
So Father's Day was just a couple of days ago, and we wanted to dedicate this episode to our daddies, to our husbands, to that single dad that's out there. That what happened?
No, I was going to say to our papas.
To our
I was waiting for you to finish for me to, and to the papas, because we're the mamas, right?
Yes. You know that Fabian was saying that he and Benji should have a show called Papa's Playground.
Or maybe, because I don't ever see them doing something like this, them too.
Right. What,
I don't see it. Just not because of anything. I just don't see them doing it because they don't like to talk too much on well, your husband does like to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think Benjamin, I don't know. I don't see him getting on like a podcast and talking, but we can bring them in as special guests, and then we can do an episode of the mamas and the papas.
Yes.
You know?
I like that. I like that. Let's do it. So, yeah, happy belated Father's Day to all of you out there. Again, the single dad, the two dads that are raising a kid, the father that's raising somebody else's child, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be biological child. There's so many great daddies out there. And talking about that, you know that the other day, you know how they say like you should ask questions to your parents, because to the elders, to your grandparents if they're still alive, because one day they're not, and the worst feeling is, being like, oh, I wish I would have asked this. So the other day I sat down with my dad and I asked him some questions, and I want to go ahead and I want to air it right now. So let's go. It's so important, like, to ask our fathers, our mothers, because I regret not asking some questions to my grandparents, and unfortunately they're not around. But I want to ask you some questions. And one would be, how did you know, or when did you know that you were ready to be a father? If you were ever ready.
Yeah, the moment that your mother and a friend of hers entered my office in Puerto Rico, and they blurted out, "You're going to be a father," I knew right then I'm ready to be a father.
Wow, just right there.
That's right then and there. No hesitations.
What was the first step after that? Do you remember?
The preparation and the first steps were just hurry up. Let's get it on. Come on out.
Oh my God! And okay, so it's Darren. I have an older brother, an older sister, and then I'm the youngest one. So it's two girls, one son. What was the difference between raising boy and versus girls?
Well, raising girls, I more or less left it to your mother's discretion, because she had more experience being a woman, and being a man, I knew how to deal with my son, and I knew what I went through growing up, and I wanted to make sure I did everything right so he would grow up to be as perfect a man as possible. And I helped your mother, but she had all the decisions when it came to you.
To the girls.
To you and Celine, yes. You were whatever she said, I backed up 100%, because who am I to question what she was going to say and do based on her experience? And I thought she was doing the right things anyway.
Okay, and then, so now that we're older, did she do the right thing?
Of course, look at the example. Exhibit A and your sister Exhibit B, and this is Exhibit C here.
And so you were more in charge of raising Darren?
I have more say, and because he was into sports from the very beginning.
Okay.
And I love sports. I followed sports. I actually didn't participate actively in any sports, in any organized sports, but I knew what he was capable of doing, and I made sure that I guided him in the right direction to get the most out of his talents.
Okay. And what's the biggest blooper that you've had as a father? Let me think if there's one that I can think of.
I can't think of any.
Let me see. We should bring Mom in
Yeah,
for that one. We gotta ask
the ones
her.
that can answer that better than anybody else is you yourself.
Okay, well, I've heard that you never changed a diaper.
I did.
You did?
Of course I did. yes.
Again, we need to bring mom and ask
No, no, I
her.
did, but I don't remember it too well because this was during the crazy 70s and things were going so fast and so crazy. But I remember her coming home. Oh, I remember one day I did change his diaper and I said, look, and as I picked him up, the diaper just fell right out.
So that's a blooper.
That was the blooper.
So now that, okay, so you have 3 kids, and then it's 7 grandkids, and now one.
7 grandkids. You forgot 8 grandkids.
Oh, so it's 8 grandkids. Yeah, I'm sorry, Luna.
Forgot about Luna.
8 grandkids, and then 1 great grandson.
Yes.
So how do you see the difference between you being a father and now having this role of a grandfather and great grandfather?
I'm being rewarded for being the person that I thought I was, think I am, by seeing all of them grow up. That's my reward in life.
So do you feel that when you, like, for example, you stay with Luna or the other kids, how different is that, like, from when we were kids for you?
Well, this is a bonus for me. Yours was part of me evolving from a young man into a full-grown man. And like one thing I was told once, that a man is never a man until he loses his father. When I lost my father, I
Wow.
realized that was the end of the line. I always knew that whatever I decided or an opinion I had with you kids, my father had sort of like the last say. He was my dad. But now in my case, the buck stops here. This is the end of the line. So what I said, there's nobody behind me or above me making or controverting a decision or anything that I have to say. So that's one of the things that I learned. And I try to pass on to you kids all the knowledge that I picked up by speaking with my elders. My father, I never met my grandfather, but then the uncles that I had. And then I would always pick their ears. I always pick their minds, ask them questions about how life was in their era. And the thing is that if you go back and do it yourself. My father was born in 1914, so he knew people that were born in the mid 1800s, and the people that he spoke to had met people that were born in the early 1800s.
So they're learning.
So therefore, I picked up things from my father, who had picked things up from other people. That's why I speak with your elders. You learn so much from them.
And do you think that we've lost that because of social media now, like teenagers being more, on the phones, that sitting down and talking to you and mom?
The personal contact.
Yeah.
It's I'll give you an example. I was riding one day. I was taking my uncle to the airport. It was a 2.5-hour trip, and he was born in 1900.
Israel.
My uncle Israel. And on the way from Aguadilla to the airport in San Juan, I asked him about his life, and when he finished telling me, I stopped the car. I was at the airport already. I wanted to hear more. I had to keep hearing the story. And it was so fascinating. And things that I learned, for example, how the Puerto Ricans were involved with the building of Fort Bragg in North Carolina, and how he was recruited as a young 16-year-old to go there.
Wow.
And the things that they went through, he had to escape. Him and his brother escaped. And they were heading to New York, because that's where nobody else knew anything. But the fact that my uncle read a lot, he knew about Philadelphia because of history. So he wound up going to Philadelphia, and he stayed there the rest of his adult life.
Oh, wow.
But I learned that from my uncle.
And what's one question that you feel that we should always ask our elders?
How was your life? What were the good things in your life and the bad things in your life? What did you learn? What mistakes did you make? And what are things that you did that you're proud of?
Okay.
And who influenced your life?
I like that. So now answer that. Who influenced your life?
Oh, my father did, big time, because
abuelo.
he was always telling me things. He didn't preach to me. He would have a conversation with me. Instead of saying, you should do this, you should do that, I learned, for example, and I applied that with my son Darren, because, at that time when he was about 8 or 9 years old, those are the years that you take a child, and based on the work that I do, and a lot of psychiatrists and different expert testimony, the formative years of a child from the ages of 2 till about 9 years of age, things that happen in their lives form part of the subliminal mind.
From
And-
2 to 9?
Yeah, from 2 to 9, and it affected me in a lot of different ways, and that's one of the things that you've always got to be careful with a child. What happens, because they could be traumatized by events that happen in that period of time. So I learned that, and then what I did with Darren is in a car ride. Before that, there was a man that was very sick. He had emphysema. He had been a heavy smoker. And he was dying. He was in his home. And I told Irma, your mother, and I said, listen, I want to take Darren to see Tony Ramos. And other people, your grandmother questioned me why. I said, I have my reason. When I got there, Tony was sitting with us. We were talking, and Darren was sitting next to me. And he started choking. He sat up, he was in his bed, and he was heaving. And I looked at Darren, his eyes bugged out. And on the way home, I said, isn't that a shame about Tony? He says, yes. I said, you see, that's what happens when you smoke. See, he was a heavy smoker. And really, I never told him, I don't want to hear you, I don't want to see you smoking, I don't want you, I just said, isn't that terrible? So right there, I put that little seed in his mind that he, to this day.
He never smoked?
Never even thought of it.
Yeah.
As a matter, his mother-in-law was this heavy smoker. He wouldn't take his kids to visit her. She would have to come out to the porch. He wouldn't go in the house.
I remember that, yeah.
But you see, these are the things that instead of talking at somebody, talk to somebody.
Of the 3 of us, who's the most like you?
You.
Why?
Your brother is like your mother, and your sister is a little combination of the 2 of us. But you are my clone.
So how so? That's why we clash, because we clash.
Okay.
Clash.
Do you like to communicate with people, with strangers? You make friends with anybody, and you always see the good in everybody. Always thinking positive. You don't know when the night ends. And sometimes the night runs into the day, and that's how we are. Just want to keep it going, keep the party moving, keep the party going. And every day I wake up, I thank God for another day of life. What can I do today to make an impact on somebody's life? And then at night before I go to bed, just before I go to sleep, I said, did I do anything of importance today? Did I affect somebody? Did I make somebody laugh? Did I say hello to somebody that wasn't expecting? And that's what, always try to make an impact and make a difference every day of your life.
I love that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying with this podcast, because, we talk about topics that are important to people, and that's, if we make a difference, and if we change somebody's life or vision on something, or we make somebody's day, for me, I'm doing what I need to do, and that makes me happy. Luna, do you want to ask Grandpa a question? No? So let's ask one more. What advice do you have for new fathers or fathers-to-be?
Spend as much time as you can with your kids, because they're children for only a short period of time. They'll be adults all their lives. So those first 5-10 years, spend as much time as you can with them, because before you know it, they'll be leaving the house. And then all you'll have is memories.
See, but we left and we're here.
Yep.
We see each other a lot, and I love that, and that makes me happy.
But there was a time that you left.
I did.
And you did leave on several occasions. And those are trying moments, wow, when you leave and you're going far away and not knowing if you will come back, if I wouldn't see you for a long period of time. But then at the end, I guess your upbringing made you realize how important the nest is. And that nest will never be far away from you. You could be far away from the nest, but it's always inside of you.
Oh, yeah. It's home. So on that note, Papa, I am so happy, because after 20 years of the process of publishing your book, the book Mockingbird, it's finally going to be out next week, and I am so proud of you. And just give us a little bit of what it's about, and then later we'll have another show where we're going to be talking more in depth.
Okay. The name of the title of the book, Mockingbird, has nothing to do with the bird.
Exactly.
It just is the nickname of a cousin that I had that was influential in my growing up in the city of New York during some turbulent times. He influenced me so much. He protected me. Also, he did things that was embarrassing and that were life-threatening to me. But in the end, he made an impact in my life that I shared his story, different anecdotes of his life, and how and my interrelations with him, with other people. And someone once told me, "You ought to put that in writing. Write a book." And I said, "You know what? It's about time." And I did it. I started it. It took me a while because there were the problems with the computer. Then sometimes I would say, "How do I follow this up?" Then I realized that I had to be careful with names because I started writing and putting people's names, and I didn't want they should remain anonymous, and that's what took me a long time. And then to end it, that took me forever.
I know.
One day I just woke up and I said, "The perfect ending," and that's what finished it. And then the process of the final print, the final words that you put, the end, and then getting it on a book form, that's another dilemma. That's another story.
But it's such a great story and such a great read, and I am so, so happy it's going to be out soon.
And it has to do with the life of the Puerto Ricans going up to New York City in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And it's based on my memory and also the memory of relatives and people that encountered my cousin and how he impacted their lives.
So it's definitely a great read, and we recommend it to everybody. So that is Mockingbird. I'm going to put some more information on our link. Papi, love you.
Dios te bendiga.
Love you,
baby.
and happy Father's Day again.
Thank you.
That's Lunita here in my lap. Bye. We invited your dad to come, and you said he didn't want to.
No, I don't think my dad's one to come on. No. But you know what? What about my dad? Hold on. Tell me. Ask me a question.
What are the best memories that you have of your growing up with your dad, and what's your relationship with him now?
I think we're closer now.
Really?
Yeah. I think when I was younger, he was always working. So it's not that we weren't close. He was always a good, father, provider, so-and-so. But he was usually out. He would work till late. So the one that I was always with was my mom. And as we got older, obviously, and he retired, because he retired a long time ago, is when we started to get closer to each other. Actually, when I moved out of my house when I was about 20 years old, I think our relationship became even stronger. I think it was because
he missed you. You missed each other.
Probably, I think that happened. I think because we have kind of certain similarities, so sometimes we would clash. And then being home all day, it's like it's like anything, your kid, your husband, your good friend, your roommate, whatever. After a while of being with somebody all day long, like certain things, like you. But with time, when I moved out and all that, I started coming around more to my house and so on, and we became closer that way. But as far as memories are concerned, my dad was always a good dad, always achieving.
Faustino.
Well, nobody calls him Faustino, but it's Tino. But yeah, he's a good grandpa to my kids.
He is.
He is a good grandpa to my kids, and as I said, as I've gotten older, we've gotten actually more of a relationship, a stronger bond, I want to say.
And what's one quality or two or three, whatever you want to say, that you admire the most about your dad?
So let me see. One good quality about my dad that I really, really like. I think something that I pick up from him is that we just say it how it is. I don't
Honesty.
know.
He's honest.
He's honest, yeah. My dad is just like, boom. And sometimes, it's not for everybody, but, I think it's for me, it's
No
a good
filter.
quality. Yeah.
Yes.
For me, it's a good quality. So yeah. And also with my kids, that he's always worried about them. Like, if it's raining or if it's this, he calls me to tell me about the weather. Look, be careful if you're going to be with the kid. Like, he's always pendiente, of what we're doing.
Oh, my God. Wait, something happened the other day with your dad. We were shooting one episode, and he kept telling you, because they were taking care of the kids, Monica's parents, and he kept saying, bring Pampers, bring Pampers.
So that's him because he's gotten older. But yes, and my mom is like, it's not Pampers, Tino. It's not Pampers. It's bread. It's el pan.
Pan, el pan. So she kept saying pan and bananas, right? And plátano, pan and plátano. And he kept saying Pampers, Pampers.
And then he hung up and he called me back again, remember? He goes, no, te olvides, don't forget to bring the Pampers. And my mom in the background, it's not Pampers, it's pan. And I was just like, oh, okay. It's like, this is all day long. So, but anyways, you know, it's things that you appreciate too as you get older, that you look at and you're like, you know what, these are my parents. It is what it is. I love them to death. They're great parents, but we've all got our stuff, you know? So.
Pampers.
Anyways, and tell me a good memory about you and your, like.
My dad.
And your dad. One that sticks out to you that you go, wow, like this is something that.
Oh my God. One?
Name just one out of all.
I mean,
that you're
it's
thinking.
just it's just so many. It's just like he's always been such a huge part of my life, and we are very alike in many things. It's good and it's bad because we do clash.
Because you have the same kind of the similarities, yeah.
Yeah, and oh my God, one memory per se, oh my God, I had one like Miss Teen Puerto Rico long time ago, and we had to fly to Mexico. No, I think we went to Baja California. We went to, where did we go? San Diego, and we crossed to Ensenada, Mexico, and I was doing that with my dad. It was just the two of us. I don't know what happened with my mom's flight, and I don't know, just flying with him, and I used to be like scared of like flying and just having him next to me, and it's been like that always, like just feeling so safe with him and so supportive in everything, and just every family vacation, he made everything so special. Another memory. This one, okay, a memory. We were at a supermarket in Puerto Rico, and we used to have a lot of Christmas, like huge parties at home. And I would always go with him, like, to get the booze and the food and stuff at the supermarket. And one day, there was like a Bacardi Breezer, and he's like, "Do you want some?" And I'm like, "Sure." I was like probably 13. Should I be saying this? Yeah. No?
No, yes, okay, yes.
Okay. In Puerto Rico, there's no drinking age. Anyway, so we brought it home, and it was probably like the first time that I ever tried alcohol.
A wine cooler.
But it was with my parents, and let me tell you, I never had to hide alcohol from them. I never got like drunk. Can we edit that part? But what I'm saying is that, I don't know, him as well as my mom, they were always so supportive and super open-minded, and they were, they raised us, they would always give us with trust. Gosh, the words are not coming out.
With trust. My parents were the same. Yeah.
Yeah, with trust. So I never had to sneak out and do stuff because of that support and trust that we had from an early age. But yeah, I could keep going. Now I'm thinking about a lot of things, but. And I do want to say, like, one thing I admire about my dad, the fact that he's very positive. He's always like bringing the best out of everything, out of every situation. My mom is more like, no, because, and my dad is like, yes, let's do it.
Which is great. He lives.
Yeah, it's a good balance, because my mom will bring him out down from the cloud at times. But
when it's needed.
Yeah, but he's always been like a very positive person, very loving. He loves like to connect people. Like if he knows that, you're a designer and he knows of somebody that's buying, like, okay, he loves like connecting people with each other. And the other thing, being a co-reporter, he would see so many difficult cases at work. And now that sometimes I work for him, I realize like it's tough things that you listen to. And he always managed to leave everything outside the door. Like when he would come in, he would never bring
the problems home.
Never. He would never. I never saw him like sad or crying over a situation or overwhelmed. It was always a smile, always happy. We are a small family. He always managed to like have people around. So we were always raised, with a lot of friends. He always had a lot of friends, and it was a really happy childhood. I love it. Yes. And so, yeah, we are very, very fortunate.
I want to put it out there for Father's Day, though, for all the dads that are starting out. Because I would say we're kind of starting out, right? I mean, hello, your daughter is 4, and mine's are 5 and 3, so it's kind of like we're still starting out. I give it to the dads that, because I think we're wired differently. Like women are wired differently than men. But I do give it to those dads that try, that are there for them. Like, for instance, I want to put a little shout out to Benjamin, my significant other, because he really is a good dad. Like, he'll get home from work, he's coming home late, and the kids are like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And he's like, okay, let's go. We're going to go to the garage and work out. Take off your shirts, guys. And then they're out in the garage working out. And he'll spend time with them. And he doesn't even want them to go to sleep early, because those days he wants to see them before they go to bed, or he wants to be with them, So,
appreciating every single moment that he has with them.
Absolutely. Every single second that you have with your kids, because you know what? Before you know it goes so fast.
Yep.
And even now, when I look at my life, I'm like, how did I turn 42? Wasn't I just like 20 the other day? Like, it's crazy because my parents used to tell me all the time, my dad would say, slow down, slow down, slow down. It's going to hit you one day and you're going to look back and say, I didn't appreciate X, Y, and Z. And it's true. It's true. So I want that little shout out to those dads out there that really make that effort when you're tired, when you're thinking that you just, let's say you're out working, wanting to bring in the money and this and that, but yet you still come home and say, I'm going to put that to the side and now I'm going to spend this time what I can with my kids, because, nowadays, most of all, we're all working, and we're all outside of the house or so on. So,
and many people think that, okay, the dad is the one that's going to go, make the money. The mom stays at home with the kids. And
that's not anymore.
No, not anymore. And, like I was reading something saying like, oh, the moms are the ones that like talk all nice to the kids. And then the dads are the ones that put the rules and sign them up for athletic events, which is not true.
It's opposite for me.
And I'm the one saying like, I want him baseball and this, he wants soccer. But, it's a mix.
It is.
It's working as a team. And so now my turn I want to first give a shout out to my brother, Darren, who's an amazing, amazing dad to 4 kids. And to my brother-in-law, Joey, who I adore. And he's also a wonderful father. So hands-on. And last but not least, Fabian.
I thought you were going to forget. I was like, Darlene, I thought you were going to wrap it up there. And I go, wait, what about Fabian?
No. Fabian is, I don't even know where to start. He's very hands-on, like Benjamin. And with this, I'll say it. She'll paint his nails pink, and he's not going to say anything about it.
That's his princess.
And he's so great. Like everything bathes her, takes her here, takes her there. And sometimes when I lose patience, that like I'll be like screaming, he'll be like, no honey, don't scream at her. And he'll sit down, and just the way that he teaches her like the daily things and everything, like he's great. He's a great dad. Definitely hands-on, and I am very proud of him as well.
Super nice.
So with this, let's wrap up our Father's Day dedications.
Yes, and again, we hope that everybody had a good Father's Day with their loved ones, and I guess we'll be on the next episode.
And call your daddy.
Oh yeah, call your daddy. Call your papa, even if he's far away, if he's still here, and if he's not here. Shout out to my friends that don't have their parents or don't have their fathers. I hope that in your heart, obviously, they're always going to be there forever. And that you always look at the good memories and the good things and learn from them, and also learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, I love that. And talk to your kids about that dad. Put the picture up and have your kids know who that person was in your life and the importance.
Yeah.
They probably have qualities of that dad too. I'm
going to go hug my dad when I'm out of here.
Yay. Okay, well, next week we're going to be talking about us women.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Our 40s.
This is going to be a good one, guys.
Yes.
Stay tuned, because it's 40s, but it's 40s and fierce, right? Like 40s and...
BFF.
40s and fierce. Like all the positivity of becoming 40.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Anyways,
Okay, well, we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Love you. Connect with us. Bye.
bye.